All right, go for it.
Good morning, everyone. It's V, the gorilla economist, and I'm with my main man El Cuco, aka CJ, aka the master of the flux capacitor. Join us or die. Anyway, check us out, roguemoney.net. Follow us on Twitter at the Rogue Money, Rogue Money on DTube, Steam, every single podcasting app known to humanity. And also, guys, check out our sponsors, mycbdedibles.com, mycbdedibles.com. Whether you want to wake up in the morning with a delicious cup of CBD infused coffee, or you like those delicious, what's that you like again? The pecan
The white chocolate pecan truffles.
Pecan truffles. Those are good. Those are delicious. You want the almond coconuts, my personal favorite. The granola, the peanut butter Buckeyes, which I find oh so lovely because I love chocolate and peanut butter. It goes together like peanut butter and jelly. Go fill my belly on the CBD is where it's at and where it's supposed to be. Check it out. On and on and on. They are rocking on to the break of dawn. It's mycbdedibles.com. Order and make it happen for yourself. Change your life, change your health, and enjoy the deliciousness of it all. mycbdedibles.com. And guys, if you own a store or you're a business owner, you want to carry it, hey, contact CJ, contact My CBD Edibles, contact CJ, and he can work out not an affiliate, but a wholesale program for you eventually because they're working on it right now. So if you have any inquiries on that, contact them, mycbdedibles.com. And with that being said, also check out thecryptoschool.io, thecryptoschool.io, the only trading room that is the last man standing. It's a bloodbath. It's a bear bath. It's grizzly bears out there. And when you're tired of the magicians, when the wizards and the warlocks ain't doing it for you, trust good old fashioned technical analysis and two of the hottest trading guys out there. These guys are on fire with the trades. They're making it happen for all the clients. Check it out. Thecryptoschool.io. And last but not least, remaincalm.net. Remaincalm.net. You got debt collectors, you got bankruptcies, you got collections issues. Whatever the heck is going on, call remaincalm.net. Get a hold of these guys and let them kick those collectors and the bankers in the nuts. Please don't kill yourself. It's not worth it. Okay, so don't stress out about debt. Debt is fake. Let us show you how to expose the fakeness and get around it. Remaincalm.net. And with that being said, CJ, what's crack-a-lacking, brother?
Hey V, good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good, my man. I'm hanging in there. I woke up. I'm, going through my emails, doing some work, getting myself situated. I'm saying to myself, you know what? I need to go to the gym today. Maybe just do some cardio, let off some steam, Bennett. Do some, letting off some steam.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the gym, CJ. I'm going to work out really hard, and I'm going to drain my sweat in a glass and make everyone drink it. Yeah, with no ice. But yeah, it's a good day, man. It's a good day. Now I woke up, bro, and I'm hearing that there's a civil war coming in America. Did you hear about this news?
I did, and I'm not sure quite why they're ratcheting that up. Even my mother-in-law asked the other day. I was there over the weekend, and she's like, "Hey, do you think a civil war is really coming to America?" Because that's what a lot of people are out there saying. V.
You want to know something? I think the most profound statement was my better half. She was an ROTC, and was friends with a colonel. And a colonel said this. He said, this country, this land was founded on blood. And every so many years, it requires blood. Now that was a very profound statement. That was a profound statement. When you look at it this way, right? I mean, the tree of liberty must be watered by the blood of patrons and tyrants. It's gotten to the point, guys, to be honest with you. Look, I'm not advocating civil war, but I'm not stupid in the sense that there are a lot of analysts, a lot of think tankers. These are the guys that I've read coming up in the game. And I remember also vividly reading some documents of a white paper that a gentleman wrote. He was a famous scholar, Russian in origin. He defected out of the Soviet Union, came to the United States, saw the same trends that are happening in the United States that happened in the Soviet Union. And this gentleman said there's going to be a civil war in the United States. He saw it. He saw it. And that might sound like a crazy, austere, out of left field type of thing that it sounds like fantasy, right? It doesn't even sound real. But then you look at what far left-wingism, okay? Far left-wingism leads to. And I'm not talking about liberals, and I want to be very, 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 very clear here. What you see masquerading around in mainstream television, what you see masquerading around and fomenting all sorts of resistance. No, I don't want to use that word, but all sorts of dissent. What you see here is the active, enthused rising of a fifth column. Real liberals take their political viewpoints to a certain point, and that's it. And they say, you know what, just like any mature adult, any sort of mature conservative or libertarian, they would say, you know what, let's just agree to disagree. I got my views, you have your views. Now that is that. Let's copacetic, and we'll try to win the next election. We'll try to win on issues. This is the first presidential election. This is the first presidential term I have ever seen in my life. And when I look into the annals of history, I haven't seen this much hatred or dissent, disrespect. There's more disrespect towards this presidency, towards President Donald Trump, towards the administration, than even Lincoln during the Civil War. But this time, folks, it is not states that are looking to secede because of federal overreach. No. This is far more nefarious. You see, for the last... excuse me there. Almost choked on myself.
You okay?
Yep. I was talking, and a little saliva hit the back of my throat. It's weird. So, what's happened here, folks, about 100 some odd years ago, maybe even further, there has been a concerted, especially in the last 60 to 70 years, there has been a concerted effort. A plan was hatched, an agenda created, and a conspiracy brought into action. And what that was is none other than the complete, wholesale, ideological, cultural, and socioeconomic takedown of the United States. It is an ideological fight. A war started for the hearts, the minds, and the spirit of America. That's what began. We've seen this right after World War II with the Frankfurt School, how they imbued themselves with the fabric of the social left. Because why did they choose the social left? It is easier. And look, this is statistically, liberals are easier led astray than anybody else. It's just the way it is. Why? Because when you look at it, people say, well, what about Hitler? Hitler wasn't a conservative. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. The classical conservative is, or the traditional conservative is the classical liberal. Okay, that is the paleo liberal of the past. Now, here's the deal: the left, the liberals' natural penchant is for bigger government, folks. This is, if I can distill the difference between a libertarian conservative versus a liberal, it is this. The penchant for the liberal is that the solutions for everything is a large government that takes care of you. A large government that is of course governed by angelic beings who have the moral capacity to redistribute wealth who have the moral capacity to, quote unquote, create an equal opportunity, equal playing field with equal results. All of this cannot be done. All of this has been proven false, and there are no angels among men. But I will tell you, historically speaking, there is a great gaggle of devils. Now, the Frankfurt School, when they came in right after World War II, and many other liberal and communistic, socialistic organizations that have begun to infiltrate the United States of America, they have been working behind the scenes for quite some time in order to vertically integrate their power. And let's be honest here, folks, if you are going to have a one world government, if you're going to have a totalitarian global government, it's only one government that fits that mold. It is a socialist, liberal, far left tyrannical government that it's going to be. If you're going to build a one world government, man, you're going to do it on the footsteps of liberalism / socialism. That's how you get there. The problem is that America has a maverick fighting spirit. The problem is that America has the heart that does not yield. You could go ahead and create wars in our name. You can go ahead and create false flags and say that it's the boogeyman from overseas and that we need to give up some of our freedoms for security. You can go ahead and convince us that the Federal Reserve is as federal as anything else. It's just like Federal Express. You can convince us of anything, but there's a point that when the average American begins to see the receding of certain of his inalienable rights, when he begins to see a megalith called government begins its overreach, begins its encroachment into the very personal lives of the individual, that all of a sudden there's a triggering that happens. And let me tell you folks something. The triggering that happens with us libertarians and conservatives is not a triggering that a liberal has because there was a perceived slight against a social group. No. It's not like that. You see, the slight that we feel or the trigger that we feel is the very trigger that triggers within us a deep, well-placed anger. It is a trigger that is a catalyst that kicks into drive our alertness, our survival mode, and we become, quote unquote, as the current crop of people are saying, we become woke. And you don't want us woke, you see? That's a big problem. Because you idiots on the far, 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 far left think that the rest of the country thinks like you. You think you go to your echo chamber rallies because most of you bums are a bunch of homeless idiots to begin with. A bunch of jobless nutcases. You think that we don't show up, that we're just going to go along with what you got to say because we actually have a job. We actually got work and business to conduct and work to do. But you've made us awakened. And what I see here, CJ, is this. 60% of this country is for the president. 60% of this country will stand, fight, and die on the soil if need be. There is 40% of the country that belongs to an ideology at this point that is so far gone. It is so far gone that is not only ideologically reprehensible to the country at large, but it's at the point that it's become completely unreconcilable. Unreconcilable. It cannot be reconciled with. It is an emotional, irate, bombastic ideology. An ideology that has conditioned a massive generations to think upon two things. Those two things are oppressed and oppressor. And that is the context in which they think. So once they begin to see you, and you begin to espouse what should be in the minds of any critical thinking human being would be liberty and freedom, and that less government is better and less oversight is better, and you cannot guarantee equal results, but you can guarantee equal footing, and the way you guarantee equal footing is you get big daddy government out of the way. These truths shall resonate. You see, the problem is, folks, these crazy far leftists, this 40% of the country that believes the tripe that is coming out of the mouth of a Maxine Waters, that believes the drivel coming out of a John Brennan, advocating that Trump's own cabinet assassinate the president. When you have sitting politicians calling upon violence on staff members of the president, when you have this level of hatred and vitriol, all because the game is over, all because that every single person that has been on the take is no longer on the take and you hate it, you've crossed the line. Why is it that this James Brown in drag looking woman, Maxine Waters, James Brown in drag, why is it this woman shoots her mouth off? Why is it nobody, no leadership anywhere, like CJ was saying earlier before we went on the air, and he made a great point. Why is it not a single political leadership standing up in the Republican side of things, or even on the Democrat side, and said, Maxine, shut up. One more word on you, and we're going to move to have you disbarred as a congresswoman. We're going to have you impeached and taken out. How come this woman gets to run her mouth? How come this woman gets to be on TV with a seditious, treasonous press called CNN, MSLSD, and given the time to stand in front of crowds to call for revolution, violence, at no cost to this harebrained idiot in drag? This harebrained, maybe her weave is on too tight, but Maxine has lost her mind. Why is she allowed to say that? How come Roseanne Barr gets fired, but Maxine Waters is around there fomenting violence? She gets a pass. She's praised as a hero, a martyr, somebody who's standing up for righteousness. James Clapper gets to run his mouth. That idiot who could barely keep his dentures in his mouth, he gets to run it. Brennan, Jihad Brennan, who should be locked up and in jail, who should be summarily executed. A treasonous, seditious bastard of the highest order gets to run his mouth, calls for a Praetorian type Julius Caesar revolution against the president, and he walks around. Who are these people that they get to say such things in our country? Who are these people that they get to say such things to our president? Who are these people? What gives them the right? This, folks, is only two things. All of this: sedition and treason. And you have to understand, folks, that these idiots don't understand is this. With our viewpoints, as conservative and libertarian viewpoints, in our world, these morons, as much as we can, we tolerate them and whatnot, the reality is, in our worldview, and this is why our political philosophy is 1,000 times better than theirs. In our worldview, these curmudgeon morons, these idiots, can exist in our world. The problem with their worldview is that we cannot exist in theirs. The problem with their worldview is that they would want us killed. The problem in their worldview is they want us sent to re-education camps. You don't believe me? Read their books. Read their white papers. Read those who have shaped the minds of a Hillary Clinton, a Barack Obama, And that would be the man Saul Alinsky. Read some of the writings of the Weather Underground. Read some of the writings that have inspired these race baiting by any means necessary and any type of tool as the end justifies the means. Cretins. Read any one of their works. They are putting it in front of your face. They have put it in front of your face, and they've made their dictum as clear as possible, and that is that they want a violent revolution. They see us as stupid, knuckle-dragging Neanderthals. That's how they view us. They don't realize statistically we're smarter than they are. They don't realize every single statistic that says not only are we smarter, but we also make more money, and we're also more educated. Surprise, surprise, libtards. Surprise, surprise. But to them, we are knuckle-dragging Neanderthals that need to be tossed in, as Saul Alinsky says, a re-education camp, or the other guy who was Barack Obama's mentor, Bill, whatever his name was, excuse me, the leader of the Weather Underground.
Ayers.
Yeah, that's it. Bill Ayers. That's it. And what did Bill Ayers say? We need to kill off what? How many percent of the country? 25%, CJ? I think that was the number.
Right.
We need to take 25% of the country, put them in concentration camps, and kill them off. 25% of the country, so that the rest of the country would get in line and go along with their crazy plan. You see, you have to be a bumbling, stumbling idiot in liberal Chicago. You got to be a fool with your head shoved firmly up your sphincter in New York. You have to be a moron living high in California to think that you're going to do such things in the heartland. Let me tell you something, man. America's still America. And I could be in New York and I see some of all the crazy crap that goes on here. I could be in California. I could see all the crazy crap that goes on there. I could be in Chicago and see all the crazy crap that goes on there. I could go to Miami and see all the nut jobs running wild. But I'll tell you right now, the heartland still bleeds red, white, and blue. I'll tell you right now, the South bleeds red, white, and blue. And I'll tell you right now, any such action against this president, any attempt, you try to hurt one golden hair on that man's head, you will have something coming to you, you far left nut jobs, every single one of you liberal organizations, you NGOs, even some of you politicians. One golden hair on that man's head gets touched, we will come and knock in. And you haven't seen bad. You haven't seen bad because unlike you morons, we know how to shoot. Unlike you morons, we know how to fight. And unlike you morons, we know how to start something and we know how to finish something. Do not bring it there. Do not bring it there because I'll tell you right now, I firmly believe that this nonsense needs to stop immediately. Because it's not going to work out for the benefit. See, what type of media entertainer, a guy like that moron, what's his name, man? The guy, Bill, what's his name? The guy that's on HBO.
Bill Myers.
Who?
Maris, is it Maris? Bill Maris?
No, it's the guy on HBO. What the hell's his name? He has that program.
Yeah, Bill Mayer.
Bill Maher, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, that guy, right?
Maher, Bill Mayer.
Yeah, that guy. Dude, I don't know what's going on in my memory this way. Having a hard time trying to remember some of these liberal idiots. That guy's out there calling for the economic destruction of America just so he can get Trump out. Why is he? Do you think that this? And then when he's asked to apologize, right? When he's asked to apologize, he says no, and he reiterates again that he wants economic destruction in America. He wants the markets to fail. He wants economic collapse in America. He wants economic ruin in this country, as his word says, just so he can get Trump out of power. Now, because most Americans are not economically astute, they don't understand numbers. They don't understand what economic ruin is. They hear words all the time: million, billion, trillion. What are those things? What are those things? Right? What's a million seconds? A million seconds is I think the original number was 30 days. Or no, sorry, it was 12 days or 14 days. That's a million seconds. 1 billion seconds is 30 years. 1 trillion seconds is 300 years. So when you talk around numbers and economy, we're hearing millions, billions, and trillions. It doesn't have the effect because people are talking about it all the time. So when he's talking about economic ruin, you're talking about billions and hundreds and trillions of wealth being wiped out, number one. And number two, I've said this a million times before, folks. Economic collapse in America equals 15 to 25 million dead in 90 days. Which is exactly the number that keeps coming up that they want dead anyway. Why are these people obsessed with death? You know, God in the Bible says this. The book of Proverbs says this. All those that hate me love death. I didn't know what that meant. I just thought, oh, okay, they love death. That's weird. Who loves death? Until I got older and looked at the world at large, and I looked at the libtards in general, and I said to myself, why is every single one of their political end games, the every single result, every single trajectory, every single prognosis that you can do, unraveling their entire game plan, unraveling their entire political agenda, is nihilism? Why do they worship? Why do they love nihilism? Why do they love destroy? Why do they love dehumanize? Why do they hate themselves? It's because they love Lucifer, their father. They don't even realize that. Most of them. The top controllers do, but most of them don't. All those that hate me love death. That means these people worship death. They love death. They talk about death. Nihilism, folks. And death is just not a state. It's a type of decay. It's a type of spiritual death as well that these people are enamored with. That's why everything they do is dehumanization. And when you've dehumanized, folks, when you've dehumanized and you've looked at humanity as a useless gaggle, a useless crop of worthless animals that need to be wiped out from the world. If you hate humanity and you hate yourself and you want to get your political agendas across, how do you do it? Well, you do it through virtue signaling. Virtue signaling is, I want you to listen to me carefully now. Virtue signaling is a response to feign concern and empathy when you yourself are the complete opposite of what you're feigning. Virtue signaling is done by those who have no heart. Virtue signaling is done by those who truly have no heart. And they certainly don't have a brain. So my prognosis is this. If it ever comes to a civil war, and I'll tell you right now, any attempt on our president's life, be it from without or from within, you're going to see a massive look. We are right now, us conservatives, us libertarians, we've been chilling. We've been on the wayside. We've been laughing at you libtards for quite some time now. We see you as a bunch of immature little children, because that's what most of you are. Various little children in various stages of arrested development. That's how we view you. But we are so wound tight. We are so wound tight. We let you get away with so much. Because at the end of the day, you don't have the power. But we've gotten to the point where you assholes are inspiring people to shoot congressional congressmen and women at a baseball game. You assholes, with your tweets, saying that you're going to kidnap the 12-year-old son of the president and throw him in a cage with pedophiles, are inspiring. You see, your tweets are done on purpose. It is to inspire hate and vitriol. The country has never been so divided as it is now. There are people that, there are family members that don't even talk to each other because of the election. How stupid. There are people in certain parts of the country, they can't even wear a MAGA hat without getting jumped. How stupid are we? This is how we've come. I've never in my life seen the country in such a state of tension and division as it is now. And there's a lot of great things happening, but people, a certain ilk of people, the 40% that cannot be reconciled, they cannot be resolved, they cannot be entreated, they cannot be convinced, they cannot be talked to. That 40% of idiots, they don't want anything good. Right now, Charles, it was James, the Russian analyst, just texted me. He sent me a tweet. He said there's 40%. I mean, there's a great deal of money that is right now coming back to the United States. A great deal of money. And it says right here, this is an article from Fox Business, and I know it says American money flowing back into America. Despite President Trump's tit-for-tat trade barbs, America's CEOs are not wasting any time taking advantage of his tax reform plan. Over $300 billion was repatriated to the United States in the first quarter alone, according to the Bureau of Economic Analysis, the most on record. U.S. firms that used to build their factories overseas in order to avoid U.S. taxes, they stopped in their tracks because of the tax bill, and they are bringing all the money home, said Kevin Hassett, chair of the President's Council on Economic Advisors, during the interview with Fox's Varney & Co. in June. The BEA notes that the main driver of the repatriation surge is that companies are no longer taxed on foreign earnings when returning funds to the U.S. We fixed that really, really stupid thing, says Hassett. And by comparison, just $38 billion was repatriated during the same time period a year ago. And while the BEA keeps the names and sums of the corporations repatriating confidential, the latest data appears to show CEOs are likely sticking to their pledge to bring more money earned overseas back to the U.S., promised shortly after the tax plan was signed by President Trump in late December 2017. While it is not crystal clear how the lion's share of the funds returning to the U.S. will be used, pro-growth economists hope it will be used for hiring, boosting wages, and other moves that will benefit the American worker and eventually trickle down to the broader economy. And this is why many economists are boosting GDP forecasts between 3 and 4%. Now, folks, none of that matters to the 40% of those that are ideologically just irreconcilable. Irreconcilable. They can't. They're still butthurt. They're still talking about, I'm with her. Well, who are you with now? Hillary's walking around with a back brace. She's walking around with crutches. She's falling all over the place. Are you with her? Or are you with James Brown and drag? Are you with Maxine Waters? Who are you with? Are you with the American people? You're not with the American people. You're not with the Constitution. You're not with the Bill of Rights. You're not even winning. You're not even putting out. And see, I've never seen this before, that when a president from an opposing party wins, that a political party, the opposing political party, rather than running on platforms and issues, is doing nothing but running on a platform of revolution and resistance. What the hell is this? Because there is no issues, because all the things that they've been clamoring for is being taken apart and destroyed, and it's being fixed. There is economic activity in this country. It is happening. Reinvestment is happening. To think otherwise is foolhardy. It might not be happening in the pace that I would like, and I still think there's a lot of room for improvement. There's still a whole gaggle of people. There's a whole bushel of people that are still out of work, 95.6 million. They need to get back into the job, but having the money back in the country creates avenues for dispersion into infrastructure, into R&D, into mergers and acquisitions, into so many wonderful economic activities that can happen. Wealth creation. But the 40%, it doesn't matter. There's a whole list of topics that CJ and I were going to discuss today, but this thing struck me because, look, I've been hearing about this whole Civil War thing for a while, and Jonesy over at InfoWars, Alex Jones, put out a little thing, Civil War in America, blah, blah, blah. So I thought I'd comment from a different perspective. Slightly different. These people are willing, because they've lost, they are willing to burn the whole place down with all of us in it. And when you look at the writings of a Saul Alinsky, when you look at the writings of a Bill Ayers, when you look at the writings of the top leaders, influencers, philosophers of this tripe, this is nothing less than a communistic takeover. It is Bolshevism 2.0. Something needs to be done. Television networks cannot be allowed to constantly bash and bash and bash and bash 24 hours a day, 7 days a week without any fact checking. There's nothing fair and balanced about it. It's completely agenda driven. You cannot be out there fomenting violence. Media companies should not be doing that. I can't do it. You think, see, if you and I went out on the street, started fomenting violence the way the media and Maxine Waters are doing, what do you think would happen to us, Siege? If we're fomenting violence against the left, what do you think would happen to us?
Wouldn't be pretty, V.
No, we'd be in jail. We'd be in jail. And you see this happening. Congress, this is a sitting congresswoman. Shame on her. But she has no shame, this James Brown and drag. Former intelligence chief, same thing. I've never seen the country like this. Never in my life. I'm very disheartened at what I see. And I need it to stop. I need it to stop. Not for the sake of us conservatives and libertarians, but to save you liberals. Because the crap hits the fan, you guys ain't making it. I'm telling you right now. You will be the first to get cracked. This is insanity. It's pure insanity. But this is how things are being driven along. That's what I got to say, Siege. Anything else you want to?
Very well said, me. No, that's it. That's it, bro.
With that being said, folks, we'll be back tomorrow. Keep it locked here. RogueMoney.net. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Put it on Facebook. Share with your friends. It's V and CJ in the morning. And we're over and we're out. Take it away, CJ.